Thank you very much for joining us. We will talk to you at the halfway stage, but it's now time to hand over to our match coverage team. I'm going to go and get a book signed by the man himself. But yes, here is the voice of Dave Bracegirdle with our match coverage.
Permutations there, and Durham and Leicestershire in the North Group could come into play there depending on the outcome. So the matches in the Central Group: Gloucestershire against Somerset at Bristol, Birmingham against Northampton at Edgbaston, and Worcestershire against Glamorgan, which is a dead rubber at New Road.
One of the things I was observing yesterday was the fact that Warwickshire's run rate is so poor that if Northants were to win them, Warwickshire would get sucked below Durham.
Yeah.
So that might actually be a good thing from a Durham point of view.
In the North Group, dead rubber at Headingley. Derbyshire the home side, but they're playing at Headingley. Yorkshire versus Derbyshire. Forget about them too. That's the
M1 Derby.
That's a good policy anyway, but forget about them. Lancashire versus Leicestershire.
That's 2 minutes in that, Brace. You've done well there.
At Old Trafford. Lancashire, they're going to finish second. They've got such a negative run rate against Notts. I think Notts would have to lose this by 300, and Lancashire would have to beat Leicestershire by 300 for roles to be reversed. Seems as if Notts are going to top the group, whatever happens today, and Lancashire will be second. But Leicestershire will need to beat Lancashire at Old Trafford to have any chance of going through. And as Durham found out on Friday night, it is possible to go to Old Trafford and get up a win. Durham come into this one a little bit of form, 4 consecutive wins, and Durham have won the toss here, we should say, and elected to field.
Yeah, I think Durham have now won 4 out of the last 6 at Lancashire, something like that. Anyway, they've won 4 of the last 6 here.
They have indeed, yeah. One change to the Notts lineup, we should tell you. Back comes Jake Ball. He sat out Friday evening. I think he could have been handy there. Notts going down right at the death, penultimate ball to the Foxes. Zach Chappell is the one that makes way. Chappell to bowl the final over there as Leicestershire's chased down 160 odd to end Notts' unbeaten start to the group. So Alex Hales and Chris Nash out in the middle. Durham are unchanged. Notts that one change, then Ball in for Chappell, and we're going to get underway from the Radcliffe Road end with Liam Travaskis, who's going to be bowling his slow left armers, and he's going to be bowling to Chris Nash, who's had a couple of 50s, 4 lowish scores, and a 40 not out as well. He's been saying all the way through, it's feast or famine for Chris Nash.
8 wickets for Travaskis this season as well.
Here he is, Travaskis then bowling to Chris Nash, and we're underway on the final day of qualifying. The first ball is pushed out into the offside. This is as late as a qualifying match has been staged in the history of the Blast competition, the T20 competition, but last year's finals day was actually held on the 21st of September as Nash gets Notts up and running, driving it down the ground for his first single. That'll be fielded by Bryden Cast. Notts in the gold tops, Durham in the predominantly yellow with the blue sleeves.
Blue. It's 6 years today since Durham won the one-day cup at Lords when they beat Warwickshire in the mist, the murk, and the eerie day that was.
Alex Hales on strike, not yet scored a 50 in this competition. Travaskis to bowl to Hales, and he's away first ball, hitting it over the top. The field is up inside the ring on that offside, so Hales just lifted it away, and Hales has 4 from the first ball he's received. Notts Outlaws are 5 without loss halfway through the third over. BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Radio Newcastle, and a very good afternoon and welcome to all of you following on the live stream. Pictures from the Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club website. Next ball sees Hales clip it into the offside, and he's gone. Hales has fallen for 4. Tried to force Travaskis through the leg side, got a leading edge, and it popped up to mid-wicket, and Hales has gone. 4th ball of the match, and Notts are 5 for 1. Alex Hales out, caught by Graham Clark, simple enough catch, and Travaskis with the early strike, and he just had to see what it meant to the Durham fielders. Absolutely pumped up for this one. Hales has gone, an early blow. A new man on his way out to the middle. is Joe Clark. Now, what a record Clark has got against Durham this year. Scored an unbeaten century in this competition, the Blast competition, up at the Riverside. And also got a very decent 100 here in the Bob Willis Trophy. The spinner pushes it crisply to mid-off, and there's no run. It's fielded by Farhan Bahadine. Next ball chopped away. Attempted to chop it away, and there's no run. Nash on strike on 8. Faces Travaskis. And, Chris Nash sort of flailing, an ugly looking shot away from his body. Couldn't get anything on it as it goes through to the keeper. 16 for 1. Next ball dropped onto the leg side, and they'll take a single. Goes through to the keeper. Just getting 1 or 2 people saying that I'm not going out live on the internet at Brace Cricket. If you can hear us, okay. Martin, back with me. I just want to take over the next minute or two, and I'll make 1 or 2 phone calls.
Travaskis to Clark. Full toss, played down towards Potts. It's gone through his legs at mid-off, but he'll recover it. They'll get 1 run. Nash on strike. These two put on 105 against Durham a few weeks ago. Delay now as Nash is having something applied to his thigh. I don't know if he's been hitting the inner guard. Still having a delay.